A week ago Thursday it was, in a New York bar called Happy Jack's. On the bar was a classified ad section of a newspaper. On the newspaper was a glass of beer, and behind the glass of beer was a tin-horn horse player named Charlie Raymond. That's me. I'd had a terrible run of luck at the track, started out the season with 5,000, dropped down to train fare, and made the fatal mistake of trying to get healthy in one fell swoop on a 3-to-1 shot named Cinnabar.
Cinnabar, Rondelay, and Sully's Girl. And making his bet now is Battle Flag. Battle Flag coming up fast on the outside. It's Cinnabar and Battle Flag. Cinnabar is fading. Cinnabar is dropping back. It's Battle Flag, Cinnabar, and Rondelay. Battle Flag, Cinnabar, and Rondelay. At the finish, it's Battle Flag by a neck. Then Cinnabar, Rondelay, and Sully's Girl. Battle Flag by his...
I was on a goat like that a couple of seasons ago in Jamaica. Well, you can't win them all. Yeah. Just a minute, I'll see if he's here. It's Dutch Schroeder.
On my left.
He just left, Dutch. Yes, he'll be by in a few minutes with the money, probably. Yes, I'd wait right there if I was you.
All I had in the world was a $20 bill, some odd change, and a pair of zircon cufflinks. And I was in hock to Dutch for $4,200. In half an hour, Dutch would be suspicious. By tonight, he'd be hunting me. Londoner wanted. Englishman will pay $150 and expenses to fellow countryman, preferably Londoner, in return for services as driver on motorcar trip to San Francisco. Phone Murray Hill 3, 8098. The perfect way to get out of town. And about the only job in the world I was qualified for. After all, I'd spent the best part of a disreputable life in London, and would be there still if it hadn't been for an unfortunate misunderstanding about my signature on a check.
Hello?
I'm inquiring about the advertisement in tonight's newspaper.
Oh, yes. My name's Walker Hendricks.
How do you do, sir? My name is Charles Folliard Raymond.
Charles Folliard. I take it you're a Londoner, Mr. Raymond.
No, very definitely, sir. Lived there all my life. Except, of course, for Eton and Oxford.
That's capital. Now, how about coming around to my hotel for a whiskey and soda in about an hour's time? I'm at the Weldon.
A whiskey and soda? Nothing I'd like better, sir. Goodbye.
So you know the old town, Mr. Raymond?
Like the back of my hand, sir.
Whereabouts did you live?
I had bachelor quarters in Vigo Street.
Vigo Street? I'm not sure I know it.
Oh, it's a turning off Sackville Street, runs into Regent Street.
Oh, yes, yes. Yes, I place it now. And you want to go to San Francisco? Any particular reason?
Are you at all interested in horse racing, Mr. Hendricks?
No, I can't say I am particularly. Been to Ascot, of course. You are, I take it.
Quite. Bay Meadows is opening next week. That's a race course just outside San Francisco. It's nothing like Ascot, I'm afraid.
Oh, naturally. You do know London. You're not making this up.
Mr. Hendricks, I could take you on a cook's tour from Kensington Gardens to the East India Docks with my eyes shut.
Oh, you won't have to go that far, Mr. Raymond. I lived in London all my life. Care for a cigarette?
Thank you.
Perhaps you wondered about my advertisement.
That was a bit unusual, yeah.
Well, I'm extremely depressed with America, frankly. Never in the world would have come here if it hadn't been for urgent business in San Francisco. I don't believe I could face the prospect of a trip across this country alone. And I hope to find a fellow Britisher in the same fix. Simpatica, you know. Lots of chat about jolly old London. Greatest city in the world, right?
No question about it.
Excuse me. Hello? Oh, yes, the advertisement. Yes, I know. I'm dreadfully sorry, old man, but I've just hired someone.
So, bright and early the next morning, we were off to San Francisco, my simpatico companion and I. When he said chat about jolly old London, he meant chat about jolly old London.
Spent much time in Soho, Raymond?
I never lived there, if that's what you mean.
No, I mean, you know the restaurants and so on.
Oh, yes. There was one called the Moroccan... No, what was it? Oh, the Algerian Cafe on Dean Street, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, the Algerian on Dean Street.
Do you remember the sign on the wall behind the counter?
Sign?
Yeah, it's very funny. Anybody caught gambling or playing for money will be thrown in the gutter and never picked up again.
Of course. Yeah. It's still there, Robert.
Really? Do you remember the proprietress? What was her name? Big French woman. Celeste.
Celeste is still there, too. Saw her not long before I left.
Really?
Yes.
I was under the impression she died a few years ago.
You don't say. How could I have...
Her daughter. She had a daughter who looked exactly like her. You probably met her.
Oh, yeah. Dear old Soho. Now, let's see. Just beyond the Algerian in Dean Street.
Dear old Soho. We talked about the other quaint little place in Dean Street, and a dozen more like it, complete with haunts and habits of the regular customers. Soho was only the beginning. After Soho came Bayswater and Fleet Street and Bloomsbury and Mayfair. All day in the car, during stops for meals, at night at the hotel. His one aim in life, apparently, was to become the only walking guide to London in the world. This dear, simple Britisher who had dedicated himself heart and soul to a city.
You see that remarkable man in Covent Garden, Raymond?
There are many remarkable men in Covent Garden.
Quite. No, I mean the one who does the balancing act.
Balancing act?
Yeah, greengrocer or something, isn't he?
Greengrocer. Oh, yes, you mean Jim the Porter. Balances 100 baskets on his head in the middle of traffic.
Right. 100% correct.
Well, I try. Perhaps you'll reward me with a little advance on my salary.
Well, certainly, old man. 50 be enough?
Fine, thank you. I thought I'd go down to the bar for a nightcap.
Good idea. Give me 2 minutes and I'll join you.
I had hoped for a short vacation from jolly old London, but no luck. We toasted the Queen 3 times, and my employer was expounding to the bartender on the inferiority of American tap rooms to British pubs when business picked up. A sound member of the racing fraternity and an old friend, Tommy DeWitt.
You're in trouble.
Oh, you've been on the phone in New York, huh?
Just talked to Dutch. $4,200, he says.
You get it, I need time.
You want to make it fast?
How?
Palmetto track next week. A sure thing.
Oh, sure.
It's on ice right now. 500 will get you 10 grand on a poly, but it's got to be 500, no less. What's with that?
Thank you. I'm driving it to San Francisco.
Dump him. We'll leave for Florida tomorrow. Has he got any money?
Are you sure this can't lose?
This, debt, and taxes.
I'll call you here in 5 minutes, tell you where to meet me.
Okay.
If he leaves, call me in room 582.
Right.